What you are about to hear will blow your mind and give you six-pack abs without even exercising.
Pull up a bar stool and relax.
Hey, who wants to have some fun?
You've made it to Happy Hour with John Gaskins.
Oh, no. Not again.
Get ready for entertaining local and regional sports talk that will change your life. Or not.
And by the way, when you're telling these little stories, here's a good idea. Have a point. It makes it so much more interesting for the listener.
Here's your host, John Gaskins.
Here's Johnny. Hello! Ah!
I'm back, baby! I'm back!
Hey, happy hour on a Wednesday. It's Thirsty Thursday on a Wednesday.
Right.
And guess who's back for his usual Thirsty Thursday spot?
Back.
Trent Singer, ladies and gentlemen. He's a writer for Sioux Falls Live. You would not have known that until about a week ago when he started doing this huge 3-part series on the 5 for 5 rule and how it is affecting our local college sports.
Appreciate
That's
that.
how you do. That's how you tackle a meaty topic. You talk to the locals and who it affects here about how it affects their programs.
A little bit of a backhanded compliment there, but appreciate that.
That's not a backhanded compliment. Why is that a backhanded compliment?
You wouldn't have known about him before this story?
Known about who?
Me.
You? I don't know how I would have said it. People wouldn't know about you. No, you would. No, that was a joke
you might
because
be
you
right.
took 2 weeks off. That was
Well, yeah, if you started following my career a week ago.
No, I just meant you took like 2 weeks off, as people in our business do in the summertime. This time you're gearing up for the football season, and so
John, I could take the self-deprecation. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
I'm new to this thing.
To what?
This whole sports writing thing, man.
It is. How's it going for you? Do you like it?
It's going good.
Okay,
I'm liking
good.
it.
Well,
I'm liking it. It's nice to meet everybody too.
Yeah.
If you have tuned in for the first time.
You better get going, Skippy, because football season's
I
right
know.
around the corner.
I haven't shaved still since my vacation.
That's okay.
You can tell here too.
He's our main high school writer, Augustana USF writer, and it's getting there. August may as well, in our line of work, be renamed pre-September.
Pretty much.
It's all football camp coverage, and Matt Zimmer was here yesterday with some bang-up observations of a very lively and physical, primal jackrabbit practice yesterday. People are eating that up, and
It happens quick. That's what I think. When August hits, it's just like you're into it before you can really blink.
Yeah, and we got word today of who the celebrities are at the Sanford International Celebrity Skins Game, whatever they call it these days.
Whole exhibition.
That's September 12th. It's just kind of like we're all just kind of gearing up for September.
Yep.
And we're happy to do so. We're brought to you by St. Cloud State University. And
Go Huskies.
SiouxFallsLive.com is the place to watch these shows and to read some of Trent's in-depth, veteran-laden investigative reporting. And Matt Zimmer's just torn all over the place.
Oh, he's all over.
SDSU, USD, Augie, USF practices and writing plenty there. And, of course, you can get all your episodes here of Happy Hour. And our guest today, Kim Nelson. Speaking of gearing up, high school practices start next week. And the all-time South Dakota high school football wins leader, a head coach for 43 years, all you'd ever known. In the last 2 seasons, up till now, he's been an assistant coach for the first time in his life. 1 year coaching freshmen at Roosevelt. This past season, and starting next Monday, his second season at Sioux Falls Christian as the offensive coordinator. And as you would expect, Trent, I know you haven't yourself consumed the conversation, just a wonderful guy to talk football with.
Yeah, he's got to be excited, too, about this team he's bringing back, too.
Yeah.
I think the Sioux Falls Christian team is going to be really good again. But, yeah, what a cool moment for him. I still remember after that state championship game, him on the field hugging some of the guys, and I thought, what an awesome moment for Kim.
Yeah.
To win that state championship as a coordinator and really, deliver one for Jared, who was an assistant coach for him for so long, too.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, he has his recollections and feelings, his true, candid feelings about not being a head coach, because as a head coach, he called the offense his entire career. He got to run it, design it, call it, do whatever he wanted. And all of a sudden, he doesn't have full authority. And occasionally, including a state championship game, it kind of got taken from him.
Yep.
And this is what I love about Kim. He's authentic and does not give the canned answer. Like, he just tells you exactly how he felt about all of it in a very casual manner. And he's just one of our favorites. So Kim Nelson, our guest today. And what else was I going to mention about today? Well, yeah, we are going to bring up the Canaries. They're in town. Like, August is still baseball.
Yep.
Twins now are acting like playoff contenders, at least with their trades. Zimmer talked about all that yesterday. And apparently Kyler Murray, shocker, is finally starting to, after a few days, starting to outperform J.J. McCarthy, who apparently looks terrible.
Was it that, like, the
last
first
2 or
day
3
at camp,
practices.
everybody was like, he threw like 3 60-yard touchdown passes,
Yeah.
and everybody was like, well, here's your guy.
Yeah.
So why is this now we're coming to the conclusion that this was his job?
Perhaps it's a marathon, not a sprint, and Kyler Murray's trying to learn the offense and is a little confused by it and now has the hang of it and is now performing more like, a more accomplished veteran in the NFL, which he is. But we've talked about that plenty. Before we get to your 5 for 5 stuff, the Canaries are in town this week. The stretch run of their season is hitting. They're about exactly a month away from the final game. They're in good position for the playoffs. 8 of the 12 teams in the league make the playoffs. They won 9 out of 10 out of the All-Star break. They won just 2 out of 6 on the road. 3 close losses to the teams who beat them in the championship series last year over the weekend. And then they opened a 6-game homestand here in Sioux Falls last night with a 4-2 win over Fargo-Moorhead, who they are neck and neck with, along with Winnipeg, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place in the West Division. They got a really cool thing going on tomorrow night. If you're
Thursday.
catching this on Thursday, or tonight if you're catching this on Thursday. So, it's minor league baseball. And to you, Trent, when I say minor league baseball, what kinds of things come to mind? That minor league baseball does, it's, just a little different from Major League Baseball when it comes to the games and the fan experiences.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit more personalized, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's a little bit sometimes more geared towards players who people literally know, right, within their community. And I think, that's what makes the Canaries pretty unique, is everybody has a connection with Jabari Henry and Mike Hart and these veterans that have been with the team for so long. So
you get to be a chance to be closer to the players.
Yep.
After every game. Of course, you sit closer to the field because it's a smaller stadium and it's more affordable. Also, wacky and goofy promotions. And there's a bobblehead night with Happy Gilmore and Bob Barker to celebrate the 30th anniversary of
They've
Happy
got the Harry
Gilmore.
Canary guy.
Well, yeah, but
You've got him.
We're tired of him.
Yeah. Same.
Bob Barker and Adam Sandler, Happy Gilmore bobblehead night on Friday. Then there's a country night on Saturday where they're wearing sleeveless jerseys, fake flannel, and fake denim jeans, and you're doing all these kind of weird things. And then you got the wacky music and sound drops throughout the game that hopefully, if fans are paying attention, they're having a good laugh. And there's Jerry the K-sign guy and the YMCA dance. In the 8th inning, where everybody mostly kids get on the field, do the YMCA, all that stuff. Play a little game of Coney Island beanbag toss in the middle of the game. Okay, but this promotion that the Canaries are doing on Thursday was not planned before the season started, but a couple of fans who are regular front row ticket holders, Lori and Doug Van Noort, they just approached the general manager, Dual Higbee, and said, hey, can we have an AC/DC night? Just for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, And they're big AC/DC fans.
Yeah.
Lo and behold. And we could do special jerseys. We'll help on the design.
Yep.
And Dual's like, that sounds great, but why don't we'll do it if you agree to have all the proceeds from the jersey auction, because the special jerseys for always are going to end up going to fans who bid on them.
Yep.
And the proceeds will all go back to a pitcher named Ryan Richardson, who was a really good reliever for the squad last year on their way to the championship series, and then was diagnosed with cancer after his routine league-mandated physical in May. He's just been battling cancer all season. He hasn't been on the roster. He hasn't been paid a cent by the Canaries because you can't pay guys who are not on the roster. He's unable to play, obviously, because he's going through cancer treatments. And by the way, he's single, and he's living with a Canaries host family. He hasn't had much income, so he stays at one of our fans' house. So anyway, Thursday night, AC/DC night, special AC/DC jerseys, and all the proceeds will go toward his medical expenses. And oh, by the way, these fans and Dual decided, well, why stop with a jersey auction? Let's just have a bunch of different prizes. Let's get a hold of local businesses, and let's put together more ways for people to come out and help out Ryan Richardson. So things like lab-grown diamond earrings from Greenberg's, 4 courtside tickets to a Skyforce game, $75 gift card to Shenanigans, $100 gift card to Franklin Food Market, 60 coupons for Brew Pub Pizza from Bernatello's, Canaries swag, all kinds of stuff. And so it's basically, as opposed to your usual preseason planned, elaborately planned, and sponsored promotions that the team kind of determines, and it's going to be on this night, and they get it all down months before the season starts. Just a month ago, these two fans duel have turned this into a huge fundraiser.
Wow.
For Ryan Richardson, and they're hoping, obviously, for a huge crowd. If there's one, we think Canaries games are really fun and a great part of a Sioux Falls summer, especially for people who like baseball. And if you haven't gotten out there yet, if you're going to go to one game this year,
Make it this one, right?
On behalf of the Canaries, they mean it.
Yeah.
Make it Thursday night just for this.
No doubt. That's an awesome cause, man. I mean, it's a player who's gone through a lot here in this last year, and you got to imagine too, empathize a little bit too. These guys are playing for the love of the game too. They're not making a lot of money.
No,
if any, to do.
And
this.
he gets zero. He has no income.
So it's a really cool opportunity to help out a guy who's obviously meant a lot to this team and this organization, and for them to give back a little bit too. That's a really cool thing for the Canaries to put that together.
The other element of this, there's two more elements. One is he did an unconventional thing, deciding on where to spend his time getting all these cancer treatments. And obviously some days being physically unable to do much of anything. And a lot of people will go home, right? Wherever you're from, wherever your parents are or family are. Ryan Richardson decided to stay in Sioux Falls. In one season with the Canaries last year, he became so connected with his teammates and with the culture that Mike Meyer has as a manager who's been there for 10 years now, has made it to where it's become a place where a lot of players in that league and independent baseball want to come play. Big reason why the Canaries have won more games than any team in the league over the last 3+ years, combining regular season and playoffs.
Yeah, that cohesion and that culture, I think. Yep.
So, and you've done stories on this, and you've gotten to know that. It's why guys like Jabari Henry, the league's all-time home run leader, and Mike Hart, one of the league's best players, just keep coming back, even though they're kind of ready to retire.
Right.
It's because they're having so much fun.
Yep.
And so, Ryan tasted that for just a year, and he was planning on coming back. He was one of the first two guys officially signed to the 2026 roster back in the winter. And then he gets here in May, and just a couple weeks out from the season starting, getting diagnosed with cancer.
Brutal,
he
man.
said, you know what, I'm going to stay here.
Yeah.
I want to because Sanford Health, a very renowned healthcare system. And so you have good healthcare and being surrounded by his Sioux Falls Canaries teammates. That's kind of become his family. And so I think that's another super cool part of the story. And on days he's well enough, he's gone out and practiced with the team.
I'll take it a step further. It's a physical, man. That was what detected this. I think everybody should be going out, get a physical. It doesn't cost you much. I mean, it's, if you have health insurance, it's, a copay, right?
Yeah.
Do it. I mean, it's stuff like that can save a life sometimes, right? That's crazy.
So I was in Nebraska over the weekend, Omaha and Lincoln, just talking to old friends. And some of them are my age in their 40s, and a few of them were people my parents' age in their 70s. And this kind of stuff comes up the older you get in conversations, colonoscopies and detecting prostate cancer and blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
It just becomes a part of the lingo. And yes, it's all, and a lot of it is traced back to, you hear all kinds of stories about that, where things are detected in just a routine physical.
Yep.
So that alone inspired me to get one, because it's been a couple of years for me, but so does Ryan Richardson's story. And the final component of this is good news. Just found out today, while talking to Dual Higbee, the general manager, about this, to make sure I had my facts straight. Ryan Richardson today learned that he is cleared to play baseball.
That's awesome.
So he's going to join the Canaries roster. I don't know if he's going to pitch on this homestand. They're not, but he's cleared to play.
That's
so,
awesome. Very cool.
But he still needs a lot of financial help, and so I think
it's an ongoing battle.
I'm biased because I'm there every night, and I'm certainly part of the drive to promote everything we have, so people will come out and the team can stay in business and thrive. And you're a guy who who covers the team periodically. Comes out to some games as a fan, a few every year.
Yeah, I haven't been to any this year. This might be the one I go to. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd love to catch one on this homestand. We got beautiful weather this week too, so that should not deter anybody. But maybe
Cordell wants to go to a game.
Cordell
with
wants to
you.
go on a date. Maybe take
There
Cordell.
you go. And
we gotta buy him beer though.
Yeah.
So that's
And
a
on-
whole deal. We'll talk about it later.
and on Thursday nights, $5 beers all night. Throwback Thursday, throwback beer prices.
Yep.
$5 every.
Yep.
Coors Light, Miller Light, Mick
Wagon
Ultra,
Wednesdays,
all
too.
that.
Bring the dog
Bring the
tonight.
dogs, $3 hot dogs on Wagon Wednesday, so you know what's going on. So there we go. So I think Thursday night's going to be a very special night. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And then again, did I mention Friday night, the Happy Gilmore and Bob Barker bobbleheads?
You mentioned it. I didn't realize that was Friday.
So
That's a good one too.
Celebrating the 30th anniversary of Happy Gilmore, and the 1 year anniversary of Happy Gilmore 2. And so the first
pretty good
400,
movie.
first 400 fans through the gates will get either a Happy Gilmore or Bob Barker bobblehead. The official bobblehead is a set of the recreating the fight scene, and it's where Bob's about to punch Happy.
So you get both of them.
Nope, you don't get both
But
of
I
them.
mean, if you have both of them,
If you have both
You
of
can
them,
recreate the
you can
scene.
recreate the scene. But you get one of the two. It's random. First 400 people get it. So that's Friday
price
night.
is wrong, Bob.
Yes.
I love that scene. I would want the Bob Barker. I mean, if I get to pick, I'm picking Bob Barker over. Happy
I am
Gilmore.
too. I would agree with that one. Hot topic, but apparently we don't have enough time to argue about that.
Yeah, we don't.
Sunday, a 4:05 p.m. game at the Birdcage as well. All right, so that's all fun and games. So summer can be a little sleepy beyond the baseball, and we get ready for football season. But you spent, it sounds like, a lot of time before your vacation, or has it been since?
It was really well. I was
Diving into the meat.
beforehand. Zim said he wanted me to do a story on it,
Yeah.
and so I started figuring out who I was going to talk to, and then I started to realize, look, and I sent him. I think I called him or sent him a text or something. I was like, look, this is going to be a little more than a story. There's just too much here to talk about because there's so many different angles for this 5-for-5 rule. When you talk about it affecting, I know it's primarily geared towards the revenue sports like football, basketball. When you really start digging into it, though, it affects all sports, right? All Division I athletics. So there's a lot of angles that you can really go at this thing. And I kind of, when I started talking with people, I was like, yeah, this is gonna require more than just a story.
Yeah. Yes. And so we learned about the 5-for-5 rule, and we're trying to keep it simple here.
Yep.
You really get into the nuts and bolts while trying to still make it digestible. That's a goal for any story, is to help people understand this better, because it does impact the fans, the readers, the people that go to these games, invest in these teams financially and emotionally. This will affect everyone in college sports. And I think by now we generally know what the 5-for-5 means.
Yeah,
Every athlete but go ahead.
Yep, I'll explain it in the simplest terms I can. You get 5 years of eligibility once your clock starts, and that clock now starts either upon your enrollment to your whatever university that you have committed to, or upon your 19-year-old birthday. And that's a big distinction when you start talking about specific sports, and I'll get to that a little bit. But, I think the first thing was I talked to Cody Schilling, talked to Chris Johnson, and Chris Johnson, obviously, full of opinions on this matter, as he tends to be. And it was a really good chat that I had with him, though, because he really opened my eyes to some things that I hadn't really taken into account at that point. The first person I talked to was Cody, and Cody was a great chat too. Had some really good insight on this and the impact that it's had for him in recruiting. But then Chris Johnson kind of starts talking a little bit about because I wanted to kind of get that Division II angle.
These are men's basketball coaches at
Yep.
Augustana and USF, by the way.
Yep.
Most people know that. Just thought I'd clarify.
Nope, for sure. And the interesting thing about this is, I think the week that I started talking with them, that Monday, it would have been at the end of July, there was an emergency legislation that was passed by the Division II level, saying that basically we're going to adopt the 5-for-5 rule at our level, and we need to get this instituted quickly. Yeah. And so, amidst all that, these coaches have been planning for this for a while. This is something that every coach I talked to pretty much said that, this has been years in the making, right? This is something that they'd heard about down the pipeline for a while. So I think a lot of contingency plans were already in place. At the Division II level, I think one thing, and I haven't got the chance to really talk about this outside of what I wrote, but Chris Johnson pointed out that, look, the 5-for-5 rule probably won't be implemented or used. I guess that 5-year eligibility won't be used as much as people think, because you got to understand, a lot of Division II schools, a lot of them don't have grad programs. What do you do when you're into that 5th year? Are you just automatically, the foreseeing that your players will be playing 4 years? Because how are you going to play a 5th year if you don't have any programs or their schooling is done? Yeah. So that was a really interesting point. Like, he's like, well, are we talking to provosts about adding more programs and stuff like that so that we can ensure that we have grad programs? The good thing about USF and Augie is they have, plenty of grad programs, over 10 at each school. So there's opportunities for kids to continue their education there, but there are schools in the NSIC that don't, right? Yeah. Not every school has that. So that's a really interesting kind of angle when you talk about it being implemented at the D2 level. Of course, then we got into the hockey stuff, and the hockey stuff was a whole mess, right? Yeah. Back in April, coaches met in Florida, and at this meeting, which is typically reserved for talking about how you can make the sport better and kind of move things forward in college hockey, they spent all their energy and time talking about what this rule was going to mean for hockey. And I want to point out that while this was going on, I was, the Stampede are in the middle of their playoff run. I asked Ryan Crothers about this stuff, and they were glued into it too, because this stuff this rule as it was originally set up was going to start your eligibility clock at 18 years old. Now, the implications for that for hockey changes the entire development ecosystem. Yeah. I mean, literally from top to bottom. Talking about junior hockey going way younger, youth hockey going way younger, college hockey going a little bit younger, not super younger with that 18-year-old rule. It's still definitely younger. You're talking 3 years maybe of an age gap younger. But then that trickles up into the pro levels too. I mean, this was going to change the entire hockey landscape, and you don't get college hockey coaches to agree on much, but they were all in agreement that they did not want this to pass at 18 years old. So they eventually, they kind of aired their grievances, these lawyers. They listened, didn't feel like that they made much headway, and kind of went on and kept put together some counter proposals, and it seemed dead on arrival until finally they got a counter proposal through to the cabinet that said that the 19-year-old clock can start. Which is a big thing for junior hockey, right? Okay. Guys, and you got to understand, like, for hockey, a lot of these kids don't have opportunities to play high school hockey. Minnesota obviously is pretty ingrained in that system. Is a huge, high school hockey scene in Minnesota. There's a lot of programs that you can play up until 18 years old. But a lot of these guys got to leave early because they don't have places to play and opportunities to play in live competition settings. So they go to junior hockey leagues and play against, kids that are of their caliber or of similar caliber. And that is their avenue into the next level, which is, the Division I college level. It sets them up for that next step. So they made that point to these lawyers. And eventually I think it was through some lobbying. I believe, from what I understand, and I was never able to fully corroborate it, but I think that the NHL's chief legal officer was able to kind of get in the ear and make some changes at the highest level of the NCAA to say, look, this needs to happen. And so it's not just, it's either upon enrollment, which you can be 18 years old and then your clock starts, or it's at 19 years old.
Yeah.
And that's a September 1st date. They just announced that. So that's if you're 19 years old before September 1st, your clock will start then.
Okay. And going back to the fact that when we all learned that this was going through, this is going to happen, this needs to be implemented, I remember it was about a month ago or so, and there were caveats like this helped any athlete who wanted just a little more eligibility, except for those who were class of 2022 and who did not redshirt, didn't have medical hardship. They played 4 years, or they expired their 4 years of eligibility. They went 4 in 4. And that Brooklyn Meyer in South Dakota would be the chief among them because she was one of the best mid-major basketball players in the country and WNBA borderline talent, and just thought her career was over and didn't get drafted in the WNBA, decided to play a volleyball for the Jacks, and that's all up in the air. Matt and I talked about that yesterday because she's technically eligible now because this was overturned because a judge in Colorado, shocker, somebody sues the NCAA.
And they ain't the first. There's been multiple since.
Yeah, and who basically said...
And they're all winning. That's what's crazy about this right now.
Anybody who sues the NCAA wins these days. And, I thought it was the right move because why do just those particular athletes get screwed? They don't get grandfathered in, but if you're class of 2023, you're in the clear. You get your 5 for 5 right away. So that has changed, and those athletes get that opportunity. And anyone could argue the merits for and against that. What it does now, though, correct me if I'm wrong, is it throws a lot of things into a mess for a lot of college rosters for this upcoming season because all of a sudden there could be a bunch of athletes who are like, wait, I want to come back. I can't come back. I'm going to come back.
Yep.
And what do you do with your roster with some of the kids who are high school recruits or other transfers? To your understanding, how much does this throw coaches and programs for a loop?
Well, I say first things first is a lot of these rosters. So a lot of the coaches have already formulated their rosters around these 5 for 5 rules. Yeah. So those spots aren't available, right? A lot of these and with this ruling, they're not allowing a limit of roster caps. Yeah. They're not allowing you to go over that limit. And so it's really interesting, from in the Brooklyn Meyer case in particular, because Aaron Johnston talked about this as if this is the rule that I've been playing by. Every coach I talk to is we're all abiding by this rule, right? Yeah. So now what you would essentially have to do if you're going to create a roster spot for Brooklyn Myers, you're going to have to tell a freshman, hey, sorry. I waited out a year. You can't join the team. I mean, that's what you would have to say, essentially, because you have to find a roster spot for her.
Here, to interject, some sleuths have sleuths is a sarcastic term because all you have to do is take a look at the roster. SDSU has room for one more roster spot in women's basketball. They only have 12 on the roster right now. So chances are, and I texted Aaron Johnston to ask him, hey, you know what Brooklyn's going to do? And not to anyone's surprise, he hasn't texted back. I don't know if she's still figuring it out or what. But no response. But you look at that and you go, as you've just said, a lot of coaches were planning on this happening. So there could have been a plan in place all along. And at the end of the interview I did with Brooklyn Meyer in April, right after her career had ended, and she had not been drafted by the WNBA, she kind of hinted in a cheeky way, I've got some plans up my sleeve. Now, shortly thereafter, she announced volleyball, which I thought that's what she meant. But and I'm saying the bold caps, underline 3 times, could have meant, well, I might be able to play.
Well,
but we don't know if she will or not.
The door is open.
Another year basketball.
I would say it's cracked open, though, because what we're seeing right now is the NCAA is pressuring a lot of these universities and coaches saying, look, if you do this, we can penalize you. And that's also, you're drawing there's a little bit of a legality there too, because now a lot of, because people are seeing that the NCAA is kind of pressuring people against this. Now you're seeing provisions put into some of these other cases that are coming up, and that of players who are winning, where they're saying you need to provide all opportunities for players who are eligible for this, their path. And that's just like that's more of a workers' rights kind of thing, and courts kind of siding with the players, which they tend to do in these cases. And so I think it goes back to the 2022 class in the sense of like they probably messed this up from the beginning. They probably should have just grandfathered them in from the beginning, because now I think this came from a good place, right? It was ultimately sound in its language. In hindsight, though, the NCAA could have avoided a lot of this litigation had it simply grandfathered them in. Why didn't they?
Yeah.
They viewed the 5-for-5 rule sort of a forward-looking structural change, not an eligibility extension. That's a fundamental reason as to why. That was probably a problem on their part.
Yeah.
Division I cabinet intentionally made the 5-for-5 rule applicable to future entrants rather than reopening the eligibility for athletes who had already exhausted their 4 years of eligibility.
Is your head spinning yet, Cordell? Okay.
And now that was
we
done.
use him as a litmus test for the average viewer or listener here. So I'll just say that I will encourage people to read the stories, because you do boil everything down well while still including information we should know. But for the sake of us winding down in the conversation, how does this affect? Is there a unilateral way that this affects every college sports program this upcoming year, and therefore their fans? I mean, we've talked about who's going to be. Obviously, it's who's going to be on the team, and in some cases, like Brooklyn Meyer, that tips the scales heavily for a team. If she were to come back, how else does this affect those of us consuming all of?
I don't think
our athletics?
I don't think we'll see anything drastically change until. And it's a big until, because look, they're going to continue to see these lawsuits, and they're going to and this is the reason the 5-for-5 rule was implemented in the first place. The main reason was for the NCAA to avoid litigation, and now here we are, right? Yeah. Where you're seeing countless other lawsuits come up because players are winning these cases, and then you see another win. What they would need to do is issue some sort of blanket waiver, and it would create a lot of chaos.
Okay.
Now, granted, this is chaos that if they grandfathered in would have happened back in the transfer portal cycle. This opened up a new transfer portal window. When they won this injunction, it opened up a transfer portal window where players are, if they meet that criteria, that is kind of tight now. You had to have already been in the transfer portal. There's a lot of things that are that they're saying will allow or let pass. They call it a ghost transfer rule.
Oh my goodness!
And so what you would need to see is a blanket waiver for the 2022 class, and we've yet to see that. I don't know that we will see that. It's kind of stupid that we haven't at this point, because they're just going to continue to have to spend a lot of money in courts.
But for now, we kind of use Brooklyn Meyer to simplify this whole thing, to use a real life athlete here in South Dakota everyone knows. But for now, she's clear. Like, if she wants to, she can do it, right?
She can.
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. We don't need a blanket waiver.
I believe she should be able to pursue. If she, as far as I know, she was considered a transfer portal entrant, right?
I don't know.
So that would be, that's. I think that's a main thing too. Is you have to have already been in the portal. At least that's what I'm seeing a lot in the hockey side of things.
All right.
And I've been more glued into that just in terms of seeing how that's changing college hockey.
All right. Read the series. Trent Singer, Sioux Falls Live. It's
things
all
are changing quickly though. So this is that was one of the main things I had to write this
to tell you that,
as a column, was because I was going to write a story just about how this affects Division I, but it's like, okay, this could all be different tomorrow. I had to.
And it could be different from Division I to Division II, and it's different for hockey. And
for sure.
And so I like how you took the Division II angle, because we have two schools here in
for the football side of things. Don't expect much changes. Though,
okay, good to know.
Camps are going, rosters are there.
I really appreciate the diligent work. It's an important topic. I'm glad we covered it here on the show, but it does make me so glad games are around the corner.
Yeah.
That we can just write about and talk about games that are happening.
Yep.
These topics are important, and they affect games and the future of college athletics, but good God.
Yeah.
Let's effing go. By the way, we mentioned it at the top, so we'll mention it here. The Sanford International Celebrity 4-man game for Saturday. The participants have been announced, and joining Andy North, the ambassador, the committee director, whatever you call it, for Sanford International, the two-time U.S. Open champion and famous golf commentator Andy North will be joined by former Vikings tight end Kyle Rudolph.
Yep.
John Randall, Hall of Fame former Vikings lineman, who's known as just the way he played, a very fun, electric personality. and Jordan Davis, a country artist who I'm not familiar with, but I'm not familiar with a lot of country artists.
I think he did a collab with Rusty Dirt Track back in the day, and so check out that song. That's a good one. Yeah.
Is there really
No,
somebody
there's
named
Rusty Dirt Track. You haven't heard him?
You're screwing with me.
No, man. He's a new country artist. He's up there doing stuff. It's killer work.
Jordan Davis did a song called "Buy Dirt," featuring Luke Bryan. Apparently,
Buy dirt.
Multi-plant. How's that go again? Can you give us a little?
Buy dirt.
Oh, thank you, Cordell.
I don't even know. Is that how it goes?
Yeah, that is.
Well, yeah. It's probably not that tough to detect. Seriously, dirty track.
We kind of I could have jinxed you there too. We did the same cadence and.
Is that how it starts?
Pretty much.
Okay. Well,
that's the chorus.
Country music these days can sometimes be predictable to peg.
A little bit.
It's kind of a microcosm about it.
What my world spins around? Okay, check that one out. That's Rusty Dirt Track did not produce that song.
Zimmer, Rusty. I can't believe it. Zimmer did a recent tweet, and I'm scrolling for it right now. Indoor Football League, because of course the Sioux Falls Storm 2 years in a row without them, partly because they couldn't land the deal with the Premier Center.
Oh yeah. That was why I was
and they
stealing
couldn't land
from.
a deal with Midco Arena.
Cody Cowboy Hat.
So Matt Zimmer just subtweeted the Arizona Rattlers taking down the reigning champions to advance to the Western Conference Finals, and Zimmer said, "It'd be cool if Sioux Falls was still a part of this, but the Premier Center needs those dates for Cody Cowboy Hat and Riley Labrador and Laney McMiller light shows." I love it. And then, because Zimmer has a good following of people, there were other contributions to this thread, like, I'm a big Copenhagen country fan.
This is my favorite right here.
Who? Where?
Just when he just reiterates.
I saw Cody Cowboy Hat open for Truck Thompson at Dipfest in 2008, to which Zim replies, Truck Thompson sucks. I saw him open for Reba Cousin Humper one time. I love it. But, hey, Jordan Davis playing in the Sanford International.
It's okay.
Well, what's his dirty track? Maybe he'll be the caddy.
Rusty Dirt Track.
That'd be great if he'd be the caddy. And then, maybe we could recreate a scene from Happy Gilmore and tie it all together.
Oh, I hope he sends me to the presser again. I'd love to ask him about, just all the work he does with Rusty Dirt Track.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, please do.
Yeah.
I want to. And
I had a career moment last year when I got to
record.
interview Chris Carter about Steve Bliss. That was still, a career moment for me. 4-minute answer about Steve Bliss.
I'd love to know what Chris Carter would have to say about Carbliss myself. But
yeah.
Carbliss,
why?
Because I like to drink
Just
Carbliss.
curious?
Yeah. It's a low-calorie alcoholic drink. Gluten-free. All right. We got to get out of here. By the way, big thanks. They serve it here at and a sponsor of the American Association of Professional Baseball. You can enjoy it out at the Birdcage, along with your $5 domestics for Ribbons for Ryan Knight.
Playing some pavement.
They're playing some pavement in Gibbs right now.
Let's go.
Big thanks to Dirty Dan, the fine folks at Gibbs. Speaking of getting ready for football season, Saturdays to Sundays, if you're on the east side or near the east side of Sioux Falls, what a wonderful place to come watch all the games, enjoy fabulous food. They always have good service here. They'll take care of you.
Yep.
We are just around the corner.
That's right.
For video producer Cordell Wright and for Trent Singer, I'm John. Tomorrow, it's the dudes from Jackrabbit Illustrated. The podcast. I mean, you talk about guys who have some inside stuff on the 2026 Jacks. Can't wait to meet with them here on Happy Hour. Cheers.
Cheers, sir.
It's still Happy Hour with John Gaskins. This round's on me.
Well, it's August. We're looking for more excuses to just bolt into the football season. And when this guy is around, not that he's not a wonderful person to see any of the non-football months of the year, but Kim Nelson, good way to get the juices flowing for high school football season. Practices are starting for you at Sioux Falls Christian next week, Monday? Next Monday, here we go. So he's getting some golf in and gearing up. The all-time wins leader, South Dakota high school football, 43 years as a head coach, starting right out of college, out of Dakota State. Millbank, Rapid City Central, Sioux Falls, Washington, Edina, Minnesota, and Sioux Falls, Roosevelt. And then this is your third season as an assistant coach. You're going in reverse order from how most people do it.
Yeah.
And
There's a movie like that. So,
yeah. Benjamin Button. You're the Benjamin Button of high school football coaches.
Yeah, I'm worried about that.
Well, no, you're supposed to get younger, though.
Yeah, I know.
Or do you feel like
I'm waiting for that to happen?
Well, in all seriousness, look, Chargers win the state championship in your first year as an offensive coordinator with them under Jared Smith, who was an assistant of yours for a while at Roosevelt. And so that's why we brought you back on. If anybody wants to hear Kim's life story, we went through it. You were kind enough for well over an hour to go through all the stops and play all the hits.
The 3 highlights of that.
Yeah, oh, come on. But big thing happened since that chat about a year ago. You won the state title as an assistant, and so that's what we're here to mostly talk about, but also just the journey that year was. So in all sincerity, does it make you feel younger or keep you young to be an assistant coach and to keep going out there and doing it at a high level?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I feel the same.
This is just what you do.
This is what you do, and I don't know what I would do if I wasn't coaching, because I don't think I can ever get rid of that gene. I think it's kind of a sickness sometimes, but I really like where I'm at, and the players are really good kids and good players, and the coaching staff is a bunch of good guys, and I don't have to do that. I really feel good about it when I see a message from the head coach, Jared Smith, about a fundraiser that's coming up that I don't have to organize.
I bet.
And I don't even have to come half the time, and travel that he has to deal with, and concussion tests and all those kind of preseason things that are coming up now. That's not my deal.
Yeah.
So I'm, watching some film and drawing some things in the dirt and having a little fun, with my imagination. And we're going to have a coaches meeting probably this weekend and get ready for the practice coming up next week. And I just really like football, and this gives me a chance to stay in it. And sometimes Jared even takes my advice and does what I want.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And before we dig into the football, what other things have you been able to do and enjoy and occupy some time with, because you don't have to be the head man running the show all year long?
Yeah, I played more golf than I have in a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm not a good golfer. I just own golf clubs.
Yeah.
I just bought a new set of golf clubs.
Yeah.
And
that's commitment.
Here's the weird part about it. I always wanted to get fitted for the golf clubs, so they were the right length and the right everything for me.
Yeah.
I was sure that was the problem. And then I go to Osted's and to get myself measured, and I'm a regular everything. Every golf club I picked up, we tried a long one. No, I tried that regular one. Every club was regular. So I could have walked in and bought something off the shelf probably, and it would have fit me the same way.
Yeah.
And thinking that maybe the golf clubs would make a difference, and not yet.
Not yet.
No.
Yeah.
No, it still requires a little practice. That's the part that I'm not very good at.
Yeah.
I do go to the driving range maybe once every 2 weeks or so.
That's pretty good, Kim.
Well, for me, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I used to make jokes about do the Allen Iverson practice thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Practice.
Yeah. I gave that up a long time ago.
Yeah.
I just go out and play.
Well, my son and I go to play quite a bit. He lives in Vermilion, so I go down there to play a little bit. And we've just agreed not to keep score. So don't even ask me what I shoot, because I don't know. And but then sometimes I get with guys that want to keep score, and I find out where I'm at, and I think I got to hit to the driving range pretty soon.
Yes, but it's better to find out later, I guess.
Yeah, it is.
Than to worry about it. That's a tough thing, especially if you used to be a competitive golfer, or you're just a competitive person. I'm the same way, where it's still, I'm getting better and better by the years, but it has had to slowly erode from my system. That if I have a big number early in the round, then it does not ruin the round. It should not ruin the day. I'm out here to have fun.
And then I forget the
we're not
score
working.
Right.
Yeah. But it can be tough to do if you're, especially if you're an ultimate competitor like you. There's always a scoreboard.
My golf career started in high school because I was in a really small school. They only had 5 guys on the golf team, and you could bring 6 to the match.
Okay.
So my father, being the coach at the same high school, not the golf coach, but he's told the golf coach, well, my son's got some clubs, he could go with you.
Yeah.
And so I went with the golf team to almost every match, and I was the sixth guy. And so if by chance somebody had a really terrible day, they could use my score.
Yes.
Never happened.
Yeah.
But
no pressure.
But I went along, and I got to
Yeah.
golf for free and
Yeah.
be with my buddies, and that was my golfing experience in high school.
Yeah.
So I was never really a golf person.
Yeah.
But I love playing, and if I got over losing golf balls, I don't mind that so much anymore. I used to throw my clubs when I was younger because
Yeah.
it was important, right?
Yeah.
Don't do that anymore.
Good. Baby steps.
Yep, not keeping score has really calmed me down quite a bit.
Good.
So
Well, that's some good advice for
Yep.
anyone out there.
Yep.
Do you guys play happy golf? And what I mean by that could mean a lot of things. That means, alcohol could be involved. It could also mean, which can make a golf round much happier. It can also mean it's a Rich Rosty term. Rich Rosty, the former voice of the Sioux Falls Storm, also caught a lot of high school football back in the day. Great guy. I remember him telling me that's the kind of golf he plays if he's playing by himself or his wife or anyone else. Is if he doesn't hit the ball where he wants to hit it, he'll put the ball where he wants it to be, where he wished he would have hit it.
Winter rules all summer.
His own one-man scramble, I guess.
I do that once in a while.
Okay,
My basketball coach in college used to be the golf coach too, and he said the best club in your bag is your foot wedge.
That's right.
Never pass up a chance to use that.
Yeah, that's right. Judge Smales.
So I do
There
that
you go.
once in a while. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, you're not a lawyer, and you're not the president, and no one's keeping track. So
No,
that's
good.
happy golf.
That's good.
So when you let's walk it back. Shortly after we had this conversation here at the Gateway Lounge. And by the way, before I forget, thank you Gateway Lounge for having us during. It's almost 2:00 when we're taping this. 2 to 7 every day. Twofers from 2 to 7. Jack, Captain, Tito's, and one other that I forget. But it's all twofers, 2 to 7 every day, even Sundays, NFL Sundays, the football games, glorious here at Gateway Lounge, just off of the I-29 41st Street exit. But when we were here a year ago, you were just about to get into this, and you're just going to see how this was going to go. You've had a good fit with Jared Smith. After a couple of years of after one season of being at Roosevelt and being a freshman coach, you had decided, I want to work with varsity players, and Jared gave you a shot.
Yeah.
Jared told me after the season was over and you had won the state title that Kim Nelson, all-time wins leader, 43 years, all he's really known has been being a head coach. That you walked in and within 5 or 10 minutes talking to everybody in probably the weight room was the first time you saw everybody, that it had felt like you had been there for years. What did it feel like to you? What did you walk into?
Yeah, it didn't feel like I'd been there for years, that's for sure.
That's the way you made them feel.
I'm glad. I'm glad. But remembering learning their names, because I don't see them every day.
Yeah.
Until the season starts. I mean, in the off season was when I started going there, and I would only go up when there was a workout or something, 3 days a week, stay for an hour. When they're done, I go home. So trying to figure out who's who, and everybody's got. I've noticed at this high school age, they all have similar names. Like Caden and Jaden and
Cooper and Canyon.
Yeah, I mean they're not like when I was growing up where it's John and Mike and Jim and Tom. Nobody calls their kid that anymore.
Eddie and Billy and Steve and Rick.
Yeah, so
George Carlin has a great bit about that, by the way.
Yeah,
It's funny you mentioned that. Yeah.
Yeah, and one of our coaches is Darion Smith. Well, his oldest son is named Darion Jr., so I got that one figured out. But his next son is Dair, and the other boys I don't know because I'm not with them very much.
Yeah.
So, but it took me a year to learn how to say those and certainly how to spell them.
Yeah.
And it was that was the hard thing for me because I'd want to coach a kid, and maybe he's walking away from me and he can't really hear me, and I can't think of his first name, and I don't want to say, "Hey, you running back."
Yeah.
But I did sometimes.
Yeah.
And so I had to work on that, and that usually came easy for me as a head coach because I I was always looking at the list of players.
Yeah.
And I was always dealing with players every day. Sometimes I'd have them in class, and I'm always in the weight room after school, so they're always there to see me there. I go to their basketball games. So I had to start going to Sioux Falls Christian basketball games and getting to know the guys that are playing basketball, the ones that are in the bleachers, and it took me a little while to do that. But I'm still working on it because, every year a new class of freshmen come up, and I don't know them either.
Yeah.
So I'm not very good at that. So I have to practice, and hopefully I'll get better. But that's the first obstacle, I think, for me. And then just, Jared and I have a lot of the same thoughts about football and a lot of the same philosophies, but not all the same. And we're using the same kind of offense, but he's changed the names of the plays. I used to use numbers all the time, and he uses words. He uses words for that, and I'm learning a new language, and I find I'm not a very good learner either. So I'm really sympathizing with assistant coaches that come in first year, never heard this language before, and I can't understand why they don't know it. And I've been running the same stuff for 25 years probably, with the same terminology, and I'm impatient. I was impatient with them, and I'm a lot more patient now with myself because I'm up in the press box calling plays, and it's all of a sudden it's 3rd and 10, and Jared's got on the sidelines, what do we got? And I'm looking at my 3rd and 10 list, and I go, I don't like any of those, and so I can't wing it very well. You know what I mean? Like when I was calling plays on the sidelines, I used to be able to I just had a play, because I'm right there.
Yeah.
And I've lost that a little bit, I think. I'm hoping that when I get more familiar with the players and the terminology, that it'll get easier.
Okay.
But I've had to kind of drop a different call sheet, and because of kind of Jared gave me his call sheet, and sometimes it looks like Japanese to me sometimes, and with all the words that are in there, and that used to be numbers for me. So, woe was me, but it's still fun to call plays. Jared lets me do that quite a bit, but truth be told, when it's really getting tight, he likes to call them.
Yeah, that's what he did.
Yes, he's the boss.
For those that didn't know, Jared Smith was the head coach and offensive play caller for Sioux Falls Christian.
Yeah,
and that's where I was going to go next. Is he told me after winning state last year that in his mind they lost to the Sioux Falls Christian Chargers, lost to Lennox because of him, because he said he sucked in the state championship game in 2024, that they didn't run the ball enough, that the quarterback had thrown it 3 interceptions all year long, threw 3 interceptions in that game, and he just and this is partly why he decided to lean it, because he's the one that called you, right? You didn't call him,
right? And
he said, hiring an offensive coordinator at all has allowed him to be more of the head coach and a culture guy. But he also hired Kim Nelson, so and it worked out. But I think the state championship game, not to dismiss the rest of the season that got you there, was a snapshot of what you were just talking about, which is you're calling the plays most of the time, but you guys agreed to a little veto power when the going gets whenever he wants to. But it sounded like he did fourth quarter. You guys were down by 17.
He took over the fourth quarter and called it great.
Well, walk us through that. What did he?
Well, Lennox did a lot of that had to do with Lennox. Being good.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And
you were down by 17 at some point.
At one point, yes. Yeah. And our quarterback was making plays by scrambling a little bit. We had a hard time running the ball, and Lennox did a good job of stopping us from running the ball. And they were playing a coverage that was a little unusual. They were playing 5 guys across and still stopping the run. You'd think if you see 5 defensive backs back there, you should be lighting the box, but they were good in the box. There are a couple of defensive ends and a linebacker or 2 that were really good players, and we had a hard time with those guys. But a little bit of it was our execution. We were a little nervous maybe, and maybe thinking that it was just going to happen, because it had been that way in some games during the season. And so I'm looking at my list of plays at the third quarter, and it's, I don't like them. I don't like any of them. And yeah, Jared,
That's a tough situation.
that's not a good thing. A good feeling to have. And Jared was on the sidelines with this kind of feeling the same way, and he said, "Let's just go to our base formation, which is 2 tight ends, full house backfield, Canyon Prinz at quarterback most of the time, our big linebacker, and fortunately he was an awfully good passer too. Probably would have been our backup quarterback if he wasn't playing linebacker all the time, and." So we went with a short yardage package, and whenever we do that, he takes over the play calling because it's his. And
by the way, I mean, most people know this, but I'll interject. That's not exactly Kim Nelson football for most of your career. You didn't incorporate tight ends very much. You're known for as a spread set kind of guy, one running back, and in this set you got a wing back, a fullback, a running back, and a tight end.
It's way too busy back there.
And and you've said yourself, we talked about the Kim Nelson way of life on this chat last year, that in general running the ball a whole bunch bores you. It bores the fans. That's always been your philosophy, and everyone has watched that unfold. So for you, and as a guy who's a head coach and the offensive play caller for 43 years, and now you're not the boss, and the boss says we're going to go to that, which is not your bag.
Opposite of me.
What do you do?
I just supported every call he made.
I know you do that, but was that hard?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
You're just like, I surrender. I don't want to, but you're the boss.
And I had plays.
Game.
Sure.
Yeah.
I had plays. I was looking at plays, and I thought, that might be a good call. And then I'd hear what he called, and I'd go, oh boy. Honestly, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I don't like this. Boom, first down.
Yeah.
The next play, 5 yards. Next play, 3 yards. The next play, first down. And I'm going, this is all right. It's boring. It's still boring to me. Until we scored. I mean, we scored one. I'm going to take credit for one touchdown pass. The second to the last touchdown pass. It was in the third quarter. And we just gotten a turnover. We just got an interception. And I said, we got to take a shot here. And it was a play that I actually even kind of designed. I hate to take all the credit here, but I'm going to do it for a second. And we ran it, scored a touchdown on one play drive, touchdown to Nick Popkis. And from that point on, we struggled. And then Jared took over in the fourth quarter, and it was really strange because we had some injuries, so we had to sub some kids in that were playing positions that they didn't know. And we brought Jude Prince in, who was usually a running back in that formation. We moved him out to a flanker, which was the turning point in the last drive that we scored on, because we rammed the ball right down their throat for 2 or 3 first downs. And then we had, I think, a 2nd and 8 or something like that. And we just threw a fade to Jude. And that one, I heard later, came from our running backs coach, Darion Smith. Thought we got a mismatch out here because Jude is really fast. And he just took off down the sidelines, and Canyon Prince, our linebacker, threw him a perfect touchdown pass.
It turned out to be the winning touchdown.
Turned out, with Lennox's 70-yard drive in the last minute to almost win the game. But it was I'm not going to say a humbling experience for me. It made me realize that I don't have to make every call. That Jared, and I didn't make every call during the season either. He took over other games at times when he felt like, we need a kick in the butt here, or we need to change things around. And he's the head coach. That's his prerogative anytime. And it made me realize that being an assistant coach, sometimes you have to just shut up and cheer him on.
Yeah.
And so that was good for me. And I'm hoping that I'm going to know the offense a little bit better. Maybe I'm going to learn how to run his base formation a little better. Or maybe, I don't know yet what we're going to do completely, because every year you got different players, so you change things, So we might not run the same exact formation as the base formation, but we don't have big running backs like we had last year. We have small, fast guys. Our quarterback's going to maybe be more of a runner this year. He's really fast and really smart. I think he'll take care of the ball and not get hurt. All right, that's that's the first prayer of the day.
What's the name?
Yeah,
Is it Cooper Strandy? Yeah, because
Cooper.
he's back. He was a sophomore
He's back.
last
Yeah,
year.
he'll just be a junior, and he's really a good player.
Okay.
He's coming around.
I want to get more into that, but I will backtrack to. First of all, I'm just curious in the moment in some of these games, including the state championship, when Jared decides he wants to take over the play calling. How does he communicate that? What words does he use?
He just says, "I think I want to see I want to run our base formation for a while." And I said, "I'm all for that because I don't have anything for you."
Okay. And
some words like that.
And so you know then that he's going to be calling the plays.
Yes.
Okay, from here to forth.
Yes, and I'm still communicating down and distance, and if I see something that might help him, like they're playing man on Jude or something or whatever.
Because you're still the eye in the sky.
Yes.
So he's certainly encouraging that from you.
But it was more of I felt like it was more of he called it by feel more, that last drive, because it was, every running play was inside the tackles. And our running backs and our quarterback ran the ball. We didn't always block everybody, but we'd break a tackle, spin out, get a first down. I mean, it was just a momentum changer for us. We started knocking them back a little bit, feeling better about ourselves, and it turned out to be a really good decision. So
you said it was kind of humbling. Did it feel helpless? Like what kinds of feelings or emotions are you processing when, again, you're used to being the head man, you're used to calling offense all the time with full authority, and now here you are in a state championship, and it's a guy you've worked with for a long time and respect, but still, you're you. Does that what's that like to go through?
Well,
you just sit back and watch, and it's okay, or
when I was a head coach, I always wanted more information from the press box.
Yeah.
I just never seemed like we got enough. And part of the deal was that we went through some years where we had coaching changes, and like Fredenberg went to be a head coach, and Vince Benedetto went to be a college or head coach at Jefferson, and Jared went to be a head coach, and so we've got guys that are, I think, getting better jobs, but not helping me out anymore.
Yeah.
And so I'm coaching coaches in the press box, and they don't know my offense well enough, and so I felt that I don't know Jared's offense well enough to give him good advice right now.
Yeah.
And I thought I need to let him call the game. And so maybe because of the experience I had, like when I was the head coach on the sideline, I had to come up with something because I was also the play caller and the head coach. In the press box, I felt I tried not to feel like I was letting him down, but I felt that way a little bit because I wasn't giving him a better play call.
Yeah.
But I thought at the time to switch to the base formation was a good thing for us. I didn't say anything because I wasn't positive, but it turned out to be a really good thing. And Jared knew it really well, and we worked on it every week. And sometimes I thought we're wasting our time, but obviously not.
Yeah.
So I got to give Jared all the credit for that fourth quarter and bringing us back to win the game, and good for him.
I was going to ask you the difference between coaching from the press box and on the field, especially calling plays, when, again, the field was what you were used to your whole career. You kind of explained some of it. Is there any more to it?
The hardest part is not watching the ball. I mean, when I'm the head coach and I'm calling on the sidelines, I'm watching the ball anyway.
Yeah.
In the press box, I should be watching the defense.
Yeah.
I wanted my guys in the press box to be watching the defense to see. And I sometimes would have two guys in the press box. One is assigned to watch the opposite side of the field, like the other hash.
Yeah.
And then one guy's closer. I mean, and I'm right there closer too. I can see what's going on there. I need somebody looking over to the other side of the field to see what's going on. And I had a really hard time training myself to do that. I still am not very good at it.
Okay.
But I have to try to get better at that because I still called the game the same way I did when I was the head coach, and that was a lot of it by the seat of my pants. I mean, I would make a 20-play script.
Yeah.
right hash, left hash really looks good. We practiced it all week long. Players know what's coming, and on game night, I'd get through 5 plays, and I'd go, I'm not going to call that stuff. And I know, I feel like now I have to be better at believing in my script, and believing in the things that we did during the week, and believing in the things we saw on film. Unless the team that we're playing comes out in something that we never saw them do before, But it's different for me. I can see more of the field, but I'm not taking advantage of that like I should. And I hope I get better at that. It's very different.
Yeah.
When you're not the head coach and you're calling the plays up in the press box, you can see a lot, but you have to see the right things.
Yeah.
So.
Do you miss the ability to communicate in person, face to face with your offense
all the time? Yes.
How does
every day.
What is that?
There's no solution to that.
There's no.
I tried to start the season by telling my quarterback, every time you come off, go grab a headset, and we'll talk. All right? Because the coaches, some of our coaches are like offensive coaches have headsets, and when we're on defense, they don't need them.
Yeah.
And so he just gets one of the receiver, like JT's headset a lot, and then he and I would talk. Well, that lasted about a game or two, and then I didn't have anything to say to him a couple times, so he didn't come over there after a while. And it's something that I need to get better at, having a kind of a guideline of things to cover. And I'm working on that right now. I want to, whenever I talk to my quarterback from the press box, these are the things I need to ask him in this order every time he comes off the field.
Do you want to be in the press box, or is that just where Jared wants you to be?
I need to be up there.
You need to be up there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I couldn't keep my mouth shut if I was on the sidelines. And I try to. I don't like it when coaches are yelling at the referees and always yelling at the players. I mean, sometimes you have to yell at the players because they can't hear you. All right, but I would just be another noise.
Yeah.
And I'd rather learn how to be in the press box and be more of a contributor there than yelling at people.
Gotcha.
Right?
So, by the way, I don't know. Have you read the Stu Whitney's book about Bob Burns yet?
No.
Okay.
No. I'd love to get it. I got.
I mean, it's wonderful. The war stuff, itself, is incredible. And then it transitions to a very decorated and colorful football career. And we had Stu on in June. We highly recommend folks listening to that conversation, which was all about the book. But certainly, I recommend the book. Part of this was obviously his very last coaching stop at O'Gorman. Leading the Knights to the first ever official state championship off of an actual tournament in the Dakota Dome. But one thing that blew me away was that he was the head coach, and he was coaching from the press box. He was because he ran the offense.
Yeah.
He was the head coach calling plays from the booth, and I mean, he had Steve Keeter as an assistant.
Yeah.
I think Keeter was defense.
He was to start with, I think. Yeah.
But he had experienced assistants that could communicate with players, and so obviously he trusted them. But you don't hear about that happening too often.
No, I tried it one time.
You did?
I tried it one time.
When was this? Where was this?
I was at I think it was maybe Roosevelt, but early when I was at Roosevelt, and I went up in the press box in Rapid City, and I was the only one there.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't take all of our coaches to Rapid City. We only got one bus. Don't get me started.
Okay.
But so I was going to try it up in the press box.
Okay.
And I didn't make it to the first half.
Yeah.
I mean, in the middle of the second quarter, I'm running down the field, and I never did it again. Yeah. So it's a very important place, I think. And it's a very hard thing to do, to be good at seeing what you need to see from the press box. Josh Siegfried, when he coached with us at Roosevelt, was one of the best at that. Yeah. If he went to the press box,
he was a defensive coordinator.
Yeah. And he always came in at halftime and fixed things. He always knew what was going wrong, and he would fix it. And that's what I needed from people in the press box. I need them to be able to come down at halftime and say, hey, our wide zone's not working because we can't do this. Okay, I need to have more solutions for things that are not working. So I have to learn to watch different things.
Yeah. Okay. I got a couple more for you on the way out.
Okay.
For one, just to we don't need to go through the entire lay of the land of the team. You mentioned the quarterback Cooper Strandy is going to be back, but who? Yeah, how do you feel? And you said there's going to be some different players, but you're preparing for the season as you start practice on Monday. How do you feel about what you got, at least with your offense?
Well,
Sioux Falls Christian.
Pretty good. We have really good skill kids and good speed.
Yeah.
We basically have 4 receivers back that are. This doesn't mean anything if you don't know how we train, but they're going to run 21 miles an hour in high school, which is really good. They're going to run 4.6 or better in the 40. Our quarterback is that fast. Jude Prince is maybe our quickest guy. He's the one that is hard to tackle. Really good.
Grant Wassenaar, the future Drake Bulldog basketball player.
We're hoping Brant's going to come out. Brant, yeah. We're working on him. He's got a lot of basketball going on.
Right.
But Jesse Whitty started at flanker last year. We lost all of our tight ends almost from last year. They were all seniors and played linebacker. But Ryan Dielman from the basketball team is a 6'9" tight end. Okay. So our quarterbacks can, if they can't see anybody open, look for the one helmet that's higher than everybody else.
Okay.
And throw it in his direction. He catches the ball really well, and is he's played offensive line before too. But and we got another tight end or two that are pretty good too. And I think our skill guys are going to be as good as anybody.
But to truly simplify it, returning quarterback, 1 year better, returning offensive coordinator, 1 year better, knowing the language a little bit better. What did you notice and like about Jared Smith just as a head coach?
Oh, Jared is really the right guy for this job. All right, he's a very Christian man. He's very serious about that side of that thing, and that when you're in a school named Sioux Falls Christian, you need the right guy at the top of the list, and he's the right guy. He does a great job with the culture of our team. He does a great job. He hires parents to be coaches. Most coaches you would talk to would try to stay away from that as much as possible, but he's not afraid to have hard conversations with parents about their son and whether or not he's ready to play. I don't miss that.
I bet you don't.
And I don't think he likes it either, but he's good at it. He handles that situation really well.
Yeah.
He's allowed me to. He listens to my input.
Good.
And
that helps.
And sometimes he actually does what I think is good.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I'm valued, and I appreciate it.
Good. Last one is a bigger picture look at Sioux Falls Metro football from a guy who's still coaching in it and knows plenty of the people coaching in it and working in it in the public school system of Sioux Falls and the grander thing. And, you're not too far removed from your days at Roosevelt. And, your nephew, Matt Zimmer, obviously has been at this a long time, so he's had some poignant remarks whenever we've brought this up about how, Brandon Valley and Harrisburg, the suburban schools, Sioux Falls Jefferson, almost a suburban school, and a brand new school that took a lot of your players and a lot of Roosevelt students away. Which naturally is going to happen when you build a new school.
Yep.
You got those three kind of on the periphery as some of the powers. Lincoln's really been crushing it as a public school in the middle of town with Jared the last few years. But schools like Washington, who has a lot of students and players who just don't know football this is the first time they're playing football. These are some kids from other countries, and they get recruited for football because they're athletes. Roosevelt also has some of those, but it's been kind of the stronger getting stronger, and then the ones having a tougher time. It feels like it just gets tougher for them.
Yeah.
How do you look at it, and either how that came to be or how it can resolve, or are things cyclical or what?
I kind of believe that they are.
Yeah.
I remember coaching at Washington. The big question then was who's going to beat O'Gorman.
Yeah.
And we complained about O'Gorman recruiting players. Well, it's a private school, and that's how they exist. Get over it. And I remember being in a couple coaches' meetings where we complained about this kid was being recruited away by O'Gorman, and this kid was thinking about going to O'Gorman. Some of our coaches were getting really frustrated. And Jim Trett, our basketball coach at the time, stood up in the meeting and he said, "Listen, guys, it's not going to change anytime soon. What we have to do is coach harder and beat them, find a way to beat them." Yeah. And it just kind of resonated in my head at the same time, like, yeah, I can complain about it all I want, but it's not going to change unless we beat them. And if we start beating O'Gorman on a regular basis, nobody ever beats them on a regular basis all the time, but our record when I was at Washington against O'Gorman and after that at Roosevelt was about 500 or so with O'Gorman. And so we couldn't say that they were stealing our kids because we were competitive with them all the time. When Roosevelt finally broke through and won the first state championship by a public school, that kind of opened the gates a little bit for everybody to realize that it's not just O'Gorman and Yankton and Brandon Valley, and so I think that needs to be, we got a new school now. A lot of that changed the boundaries. We're getting kids from different places. Right now, Roosevelt's not getting a lot of athletes coming through their school. They have the same numbers of kids, but they're not getting the athletes. And I hope for their sake that it's a cyclical thing and that it's going to gradually work its way around to being equal, more equal. But I don't know we can't go recruit kids from other public schools. That's not right. It'd be easy to say, well, we need to move the boundaries here. Well, are you going to go through every household and see who has athletes in their house?
Right.
I mean, you just got to do the best you can with the boundaries and take what comes. And I think eventually it's going to turn around. I hope it does, because it's more fun when everybody's pretty good.
Yeah.
And you never know who's going to win.
Right.
And nobody likes to get their butts kicked 50-0 at home against an arch rival.
Yeah.
So those are tough games.
And it's interesting you bring up O'Gorman, because that's the one school I didn't mention, and yet here they are almost every year. They just kind of sneak around and still win some games and pull out a state title or go to a state final once every few years. And now we're in a place where there's a lot more just recruiting and open enrollment, and anybody can go anywhere. That playing field has been leveled, but yet still the Poppingas figure out a way to be uber competitive with lesser enrollment.
Well,
and one other point I'll add is,
Sure.
hey, Lincoln and Jared Fredenberg, his first 2, 3, 4 years, it was rough.
Yeah,
they
it
were
was
in
tough.
a terrible spot, and he just grinded.
Yep.
And now some players want to go play there, and they win a bunch.
Yep. One thing I've learned being at Sioux Falls Christian, though, is that kids that go to private schools are different, because they're all coming from successful families. Usually the parents are both together still. Both professionals are working and have really high expectations for their kids in everything they do. In the public schools, it's a little different. We have a lot of those kids too, but we have a lot of kids that are coming from a really tough background, and it's hard to get them to come to the weightlifting in the summer. It's hard to get them to come to all the summer practices and showing up, regularly, because they maybe have one car for the whole family, or maybe mom's working, dad's gone, she can't get them there. They live too far away. It's a different kind of a different thing, and that I've learned that in private schools you don't have those problems. There are other problems, but you don't have those problems where the kids always show up to things, and they'll always come to your camp because they can afford to pay for it. I used to give scholarships for my camp for all of our kids. If they couldn't pay, we'd let them go for free. And you have to try to do things like that to help them out, but you're also a public school and you can't give things away. You can't pay for things. You can't, you know what I mean? It's a very different atmosphere and a very different culture, but I'm lucky to be where I am right now, and I'm cheering for Roosevelt. I'm cheering for Washington and all the public schools in Jefferson and Lincoln and sometimes even O'Gorman.
Wow. Now that's news.
I know.
That's a surprise. This was wonderful, and you've certainly earned it to be in a spot where that harder stuff comes easier. Thrilled with your success. You seem happy.
Yeah.
And you're in football, and you're in a good spot.
I'm in football,
doing it.
man. Yeah.
So I know you'll be watching some stuff and taking some notes and drawing up some new plays and applying them over the next month, and good luck.
And I just want to say that all the plays that don't work came from Jared and not from me.
He's Kim Nelson. That's a good way to walk it off here from the Gateway Lounge as we get closer to high school football season here on Happy Hour.
Thanks,
you, Kim.
John.
Cheers.
You need anything else, John?
No, I think I'm good, Greg. I think I'm going to tap out.
All right. Have a good night.